These are problems 11 through 20 on SAT test number 1 in the calculator portion for assignment 7 in test prep. So on problem 11, you see that denominator again, and this, to solve it, does involve multiplying through left to right in its entirety by 3 to eliminate the denominator of 3 on the left-hand side. So that gives you a 2x minus 1 on the left, and then on the right, a 21x minus 3. And then go through that, collect your terms. I subtracted 2x to the right, added 3 to the left, and then divided by 19. Problem 12. Okay, so the slope of this line is 1, the y-intercept of 1, so there's your equation. If the slope of this line were doubled, so make that 2x plus 1, what would be the value for y at x equals 2? So 2 times 2 plus 1 would be 5. Problem 13, the average of 4 test scores is 70. After a 5th test score is added, the new average is 80. What is the value of the 5th test score? So here is the official algebra. You can also just play guess and check. You know, you've got a sum of 280 plus something divided by 5 has to give you 80. Okay, so 120. And typically that new score has to be quite a bit more. If you already have a set of scores to move your average, it has to be quite a bit more. So I would start with the highest one if you're going to play the guess and check. Okay, so the area of the square shown in the figure in the middle is 36. So all these sides are 6, making the radius 3. And we know the perimeter of this triangle is 24. Now you don't have to necessarily assume both of these sides are 9, although it looks like they're equal. So you could say they're both, but they could be 10 and 8 if you want, just as long as the sum of those 3 is 24. So what is the perimeter of the entire figure? So you need to figure out what this length is now. So 2 pi r, is the entire circumference, but we need to divide by 2 because it's half. So pi times r, so that makes this 3 pi. So you just add these numbers, 30, 15 and 15 plus 3 pi is that final answer. 15, what is the length of BC? So if you select this angle, that makes this the adjacent, this the hypotenuse, this the opposite. So x is what you're trying to figure out. You can label it that. And so those are the two sides that have the labels on, the opposite and the hypotenuse. So that is the sine ratio. So sine of 30 equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Do a cross product, and then solve for x by dividing by sine 30 on both sides. You should do this work because sometimes they make the answer choices in terms of this. So you would be looking for 7 over sine of 30 as one of the choices. 16. If x equals -2, what is this? So -2 to the third is -8. And then you absolute value that, and that makes that +8. And then -2 squared is 4. So 8 minus 4 minus -2. So they're testing you raising a negative to a power, taking the absolute value of a negative. A lot is being tested here. If you're going to reach for the calculator, which you don't really need to on this problem. Here's a distance, rate, and time problem. So the time is 35 minutes and 13 miles per x minutes. So that means divide. So that's your rate and time. And so when you take that product, that is the distance. of, so you do 35 times 13. They're going to test this at some point on this test to recognize it is the object of the game. Multiplication counting principle on 18. So how many different ways can 5 different books? So you have 5 choices for the first slot on the bookshelf. You put a book there. Then you got 4 books left for the second slot, and you put a book there. Then you got 3 books left for the third slot. Then you put a book there, so on and so forth, all the way down. And so that is 120 when you do that out. How to recognize the multiplication counting principle. Arrangements, or let's say you have different amounts of different things, and so how many combinations of something, choosing all those different things can you make? So let's say 5 pairs of pants, 6 different sets of shirts, and 2 different shoes. So 5 times 6 times 2 would give you all the different outfits that you could wear, as another example. Okay, here we go again with a little social studies math. Okay, so according to the table, which age group has the greatest percentage of people who prefer corn cereal? So percentage, so you're looking at the number in this column divided by the number in this column, and what would give you the greatest result. So about 34 over 82 is better than 7 over 21, which is definitely better than 5 over 18. So that would be 18 years or younger. And then problem 20. Okay, what's the best estimate? So you want to divide these two. Okay, so 18, 7, 13, and then the so 34, 23 over 18, 7, 1, 3. So that's the percentage of people who prefer oat cereal, times, relate that to the 81 million people. So that percentage would hold accurately in the rest of the population. So 14.8 million, which is about 15 million people. So that concludes this set of 10 problems.